Hey you guys, today we're going to talk about Valplast flexible partials. I'm going to show you how to make one and we're going to get started right now. Alright, so the first real difference is going to be the flask or mold that you're using. Obviously it has some guiding pins on the top of it, but the main difference is it has a hole in the top and bottom and a sprue hole to guide your injection. Now, after you have your Valplast partial waxed up, you're going to take and paint it with a separating material on the model. We use sodium silicate. Then you're going to want to align it with this sprue hole here. This is going to allow a path for the injection of Valplast material into the partial itself where this wax is. This is an injection system, so it's going to be a little different obviously. But next step, you're going to fill up your bottom half of your flask. We're going to use stone instead of plaster because it's harder and more accurate. So we're going to go ahead and fill that in. Alright, so it's good practice to go ahead and fill in the front of this. That way you don't have any air bubbles when you press this down in there. Just fill it up and press it in. So you just want to make sure that it's aligned with the sprue hole, and then you want to clean it up and get it ready for the top half of the mold to be poured. So we're actually going to go ahead and clear this sprue hole and get it cleaned up a little bit because we're going to place some round sprue wax in this slot. Alright, so I've already cleaned it up at this point and I've placed my wax sprues in. You'll see all of the wax here will be acrylic after we boil all the wax off. But I just wanted to place this here in order for the injection to have a pathway through here and through multiple routes into the partial. I'm going to place a piece of red wax here just to be a filler so that when we pour this top half of the mold here, we don't want it to come out of the sprue hole in the bottom. So we're just going to place that wax there and just push it so that it kind of fills in the gap. Now that we have it set, we can put in our bolts on the sides and we can fill in our stone through the top half of this. Alright, so at this point I want to just put in two bolts on here and tighten them down with this Allen key. I only need two at this point because I'm going to have to take them back out when I stick this in the boil out tank when the top half of this sets up. So let's look at that now. Now of course, to avoid air bubbles, we're using this benchtop vibrator to get all of the air out while we pour the stone into the top of this flask. Alright, so I didn't have a video of me boiling out this, but you can see after the wax has been boiled off in our boil out tank, we just have left the sprue holes, and you can see in the stone where they are. I'm going to clean them up a little bit and then paint them. But this is where the injection is actually going to go through each of these into the partial itself. Now you'll notice on these teeth, it's a little bit different. We have holes in the top of them. Now, not only in the top, but take a look at this in the side here. You may be able to see better. See if I can get a better angle here. You notice in the top, but also in the side here, we have these diatard holes we drill for retention. Now we're going to paint this with a material called DVA separator. This is what we use. Feel free to use a different product. We're not sponsored by anyone, so it's just what we use. Alright, and here's our Valplast machine. This is an older machine. This is the heater for it. You can see it's at about 575, I think that was. We're going to take our top and our bottom after they're painted, and we're going to put them together, and we're going to actually line up these guiding pins and then put the bolts in. All four need to go in and be tightened down. Oh yeah, sorry, I just wanted to mention that we actually glue the teeth down, and this is the cement that we use. All right, and as this is an injection system, we have it tightened up, and here's where we're going to line up for the injection. So we want to put it under our machine, and we want to line up the hole to where the Valplast will actually shoot through in a straight shot without any problems. So I'm going to show you that now. All right, so pretty simple. You just want to take your handle, you want to put it on the sprue hole, make sure that it's held down flat, so that's where it will sit. You want to bring down the press until it's centered. Now you have it so it'll be clean and easy. All right, next we want to pick which Valplast we're going to actually use. This one is a 25 millimeter large standard pink. Make sure and keep it sealed up well, because if these things get moisture in them, which is pretty common, they will basically explode in the heater. So it's important to keep them sealed up and dry. Now that we have our flask lined up and centered and we have our Valplast picked out, we're going to go ahead and take the Valplast and we're going to put it in the heater as long as it's up to temperature. But you want to make sure and put it in the right way. So you're going to want to put in the side that has the punch out hole, and you're going to put it in first, because keep in mind the injection system that we're using here and how this is going to actually work. The press comes down, it's going to press in the bottom part of this, and that sprue hole inside is going to open up and it's going to inject into the hole in our mold. We're going to put in this extra piece here, just it's a spacer. It's going to give us just the right amount, and then we're going to set the clock for 11 minutes. All right, the moment of truth, we're going to pull it out easy. We're going to slightly turn it over so that it doesn't slide out. Centered, we're going to go ahead and press it down. You want to do it as quick as possible. That way it doesn't begin to cool on you and make it more difficult. So we want to go all the way down. You'll notice a pop there, and it'll make a kind of a popping sound, but that's completely normal. It's nothing to worry about. And so you're just going to run it down until it's completely tight, and then you're going to leave it for 3 minutes. All right, now we're going to break it out of our press here and go ahead and sit it aside. It just takes 3 minutes under the press, and you can move it, but then you want to let it sit for an additional 30 minutes at least to harden up. We actually have a new digital Valplast heater, and we are getting our full use out of the original one, but just in case you're interested, this comes in handy. While we're waiting on it to cool down, we're just going to twist the handle and go ahead and pop it off. It comes off pretty easily, and you can actually see where the injection came out of. Alright, just wanted to kind of show you the inside of a Valplast stick. Our 30 minutes is up. We're going to go ahead and take out the bolts on the side and pop this baby loose. So we're just going to break this apart by hitting the top where the opening is. That'll take off the top half, and then you can actually see the stem of the injection there, and then the same for the bottom until it breaks out. So now that's out, you're going to actually cut it on the sides and then take a knife and just kind of pop it open. And here's the master at work demonstrating the technique. You're just going to cut a slot in it and then pop it loose with a knife. And here is the finished product. It's not completely finished down yet, but just to give you an idea of how all the wax turned to acrylic, the sprue holes and everything. The sprues are going to be cut off with a grinding disc, and then we will take and clean it up with a burr and get rid of any sharp points, or if there's any porosity or anything, which typically not. And then we will finish down the periphery and polish it up and get it ready for delivery. If you're unfamiliar with polishing, I didn't actually polish this up. I will say that Valplast is a little different polishing. It will definitely burn quicker, I would say, and it's more difficult to polish, really it is. But I just done a video on polishing. If you're new to the trade, check that out. And yeah, if you guys found this interesting or it helps you out in any way, I'm just hoping to add value. Yeah, just leave me a like, and a comment helps, and subscribe. And if you want to see more of my material, you can always hit the notification bell to let you know when my new videos come out. And thanks for watching.